You're scrolling, drifting through the endless static of the algorithm, waiting for the signal to cut through the noise. Consider, if you will, that you just found the frequency. You've just stepped off the timeline of the everyday, into the space where the forgotten history and the hidden truths finally touch down. There's the story you know, and then there's the airspace we're about to enter. Check your coordinates, because you're heading towards the landing point. Welcome back, friends. Today's story. The Manila envelope. The boy was from the flatlands of Nebraska. Let's just call him Richard. Richard was not exactly built for the Heartland's favorite pastime. He was small, slight, and bookish. While the other local boys were throwing spirals and dreaming of the gridiron, Richard found the escape in two very different, very specific pursuits. First, he loved magic. He loved the sleight of hand, the misdirection, and the absolute control the patter gave him over the audience. Second, he found the pommel horse. He poured his physical energy into gymnastics, built a quiet, disciplined strength that eventually made him a state champion. But the Midwest couldn't hold him forever. Richard had a sharp mind and headed east to a fancy Ivy League school, Yale. You might think that an Ivy League degree would immediately open up golden gates of success. But when he graduated, reality hit hard. Richard found himself stuck. He was working as a lowly copy boy for Time magazine in New York City, fetching coffee, running errands. He was just a small-town kid completely lost in the towering, bustling shadow of Manhattan. But Richard read the magazines he carried around the office. One day, he came across an article about the undisputed king of late-night television at the time, Jack Paar. The article mentioned that Paar was under immense pressure and constantly desperate for fresh, funny material. Richard went back to his tiny apartment, rolled a blank sheet of paper into his typewriter, and went to work. He typed out a few pages of monologue jokes, slid them into a plain manila envelope, and decided to do something incredibly audacious. He marched over to the RCA building at 30 Rock Plaza. He didn't have an appointment. He didn't have a talent agent. He didn't even have a pass. He just snuck in and started wandering the backstage halls, keeping his eyes peeled. Suddenly, a set of elevator doors opened, and out stepped Jack Paar himself. Richard's heart pounded. He stepped into the middle of the hallway, blocked the massive television star's path, and shoved the manila envelope into his hands. "I've written some things for you," Richard stammered. Paar looked at the skinny kid, looked at the envelope, tucked it under his arm, and without a word kept walking. That night, Richard sat in his cramped apartment and turned on his small television set. The band played. The curtain parted, and Jack Paar walked out onto center stage. Paar delivered his first joke. The studio audience erupted into a roar of laughter. It was Richard's joke. Then Paar told a second one, also Richard's. The very next day, the Nebraska gymnast and copy boy was hired as a network staff writer. But he wouldn't stay hidden behind the typewriter forever. He eventually took the magical timing and quick wit in front of the camera himself. He brought an entirely new, intellectual rhythm to the airwaves, becoming the only man on television who could casually and brilliantly match the wit with the likes of Katharine Hepburn, Marlon Brando, and Jimi Hendrix. The thinking man's talk show host is Richard Alva, or as we know him, Dick Cavett. And whether you realize it or not, this is The Landing Point. Viewers, thank you for watching today, The Landing Point. We really appreciate it. I'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Roadrunner Real Estate. They are a full service real estate company doing both commercial and residential real estate. They can help you buy, sell, or even lease your properties. So if you're in the market looking for a real estate company, please go out and give them a call. They'll happily help you today. The next thing I'd like to talk about is our social media. Obviously, we have YouTube if you're watching that today. If you haven't done so already, please go out and subscribe. It is completely free to you. There's nothing that you'll be charged or your membership fees, but it does help us out so we can get our latest episodes to you quickly and you can find out what's going on with YouTube. Our other place that we do a lot of our social media is on our Facebook page, The Landing Point. So please go out and like and subscribe or follow those, I guess I would say, so you get the latest updates. If you're a person that likes to listen to stories as you're out on the drive, we have our podcast. You can find The Landing Point out there, and it can be on most services. So once again, thank you for watching The Landing Point, and we look forward to see you on our next story.